Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're going to take our time and explore a beautiful, incredibly important piece of literature together, Robert Frost's famous poem, Dust of Snow. Let's gently begin our journey into this wonderful text. To make sure we master every single detail of this poem, here is our roadmap. We'll start with a reading of Dust of Snow, then decode the winter incident itself. After that, we'll look at the sudden change of mood, explore some unconventional symbols in nature, and finally, wrap up with the poem's larger significance.
Section 1. Reading Dust of Snow. Okay, let's dive into this.
I want you to just relax and listen to the rhythm of the poem first. The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. Close your eyes for just a second and picture this with me. It's a cold, quiet winter day. The poet is standing silently beneath a tree. Up in the branches, a dark crow shivers or adjusts its wings, shaking snow right down onto the poet below. It's a very simple, still picture.
Now let's slowly take in the second stanza. Has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. Notice the pause and the beautiful, simple rhythm here. Heart and part, mood and rude. Just let that shift in emotion settle for a moment. Something as incredibly small as snow falling has touched the poet deeply inside.
Section 2. Decoding the winter incident. Let's break down exactly what physically happens here.
Now, to decode this correctly, we must start with the vocabulary. Connecting right back to your NCERT textbook glossary for key terms is always the absolute first step in mastering any poem.
So our first key term is hemlock. A hemlock is defined as a poisonous plant or tree with small white flowers. And I really want you to focus on that word, poisonous. The poet isn't standing under some cheerful, bright tree, right? He is standing under a plant associated with toxicity, darkness, and danger.
So what is the actual literal action happening here? Well, the core incident is incredibly brief. A simple, ordinary crow moving around in the branches of a dark, poisonous tree shakes down what Frost calls a dust of snow onto the poet standing below. That's it. There's no grand magic, just a bird, a toxic tree, and falling snow. But what exactly does dust of snow mean? Well, Frost is using this lovely phrase to show us that these aren't heavy, wet clumps of ice. It's fine, powdery flakes of snow falling gently. It's literally like dust settling from the air, delicate and completely silent.
Moving on to Section 3, a sudden change of mood. Let's look at the consequence of that tiny winter incident.
Frost tells us that this falling snow has given my heart a change of mood. This is the real turning point of the poem. The physical coldness of the snow gently hitting his body creates an instant internal shift. He's pulled completely away from his previous thoughts, and his emotional state transforms in a split second.
But hang on, what was his mood before this happened? We find that answer in another glossary word, rued. To rue something means it is held in regret. So the poet was originally having a pretty terrible, depressing day. He was filled with sadness, feeling that his entire day was just wasted and ruined. He was trapped in his own negative thoughts.
Which brings us to arguably the most crucial phrase of the stanza, and saved some part. You see, because of that sudden, soft falling of the snow, the poet is awakened from his sadness. The crow's tiny, completely unconscious action actually rescued the remainder of the poet's ruined day. He realizes the day isn't entirely lost after all. Section 4. Unconventional symbols in nature. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is how it challenges what we usually read. You'll probably recognize this thinking about the poem section from your textbook exercises. This is exactly where we step back and decode the poet's hidden meanings. Why did Frost choose these specific things to write about? Think about other poems you've studied before. When poets want to describe nature lifting their spirits, they usually write about beautiful, majestic trees, like a maple, an oak, or a pine. They write about colorful, singing birds. But Frost deliberately chooses the exact opposite. He gives us a dark, ugly crow and a poisonous hemlock tree. He completely subverts all our expectations. And that brings us to this specific textbook question. What do the crow and hemlock represent? Joy or sorrow? Traditionally, in literature, crows and poisonous trees represent sorrow, darkness, and bad omens. And this brilliantly illustrates Frost's genius.
He takes symbols of sorrow and uses them as unexpected catalysts for joy. He shows us that healing can come from the darkest, most unexpected places in nature.
And finally, Section 5, the poem's larger significance. So the crucial point here is the overall philosophical lesson of our explainer.
There is this wonderful quote from Robert Frost himself that perfectly summarizes the whole theme of this poem. Always, always a larger significance. A little thing touches a larger thing. I absolutely love that. The little thing is the simple dust of snow falling from a branch, but it touched a much larger thing, the human spirit, the poet's heavy heart, and it completely changed the course of his day.
As we slowly come to the end of our lesson today, I want to leave you with this final reflective question. Have there been times when you felt depressed and you experienced a similar, tiny moment that changed your mood? Think about how this applies to your own daily life. Keep this in mind, my dear students. Sometimes the absolute smallest things bring the greatest joy. Keep looking for your own dust of snow.